Well, congratulations. It's nice to not see you covered in blood. How does it feel?
No, it feels good. It's always good to be up here after the fight. But definitely it was caught me at the end. Whenever when we came in, so like we were kind of striking a little bit. And then whenever I threw like a jab and he like level changed, like he was going to come in for a takedown, which I thought that he would be looking to get the fight to the ground because towards the end, it seemed like he was pretty confident staying on the ground. So when he level changed, I thought it was like a real takedown shot, like he was shooting, and then he came back up, and I thought it was the back of his head that hit me originally, and then whenever I landed and I had like seatbelt, like I had his back locked up, I realized that it was his elbow, but I had his back locked up, and I thought that I would sink that choke in, but he just did such a good job with his defense.
Was it hard? Did you all that after with all the blood? I mean, it must have been slippery and getting all your...
Yeah, it was. It's always kind of like weird when you have your own blood in there. It's like you smell it, and I try to tell people about like the no fans and stuff like that. It's so weird when you don't have like a whole arena like making a bunch of noise because like I could hear like whenever it hit me, like I could hear him breathing, and I could see that he saw that I was bleeding. I could hear the referee talking to me, and like you hear my coach and his coach talking, and it's like it's such a weird feeling. Then I see my blood squirting out like 2 or 3 inches. It hit an artery or so. It hit something good, and it was squirting like really good, and it was just coming out the whole time. So it was a steady stream of blood, and I could just smell it. And it's always kind of weird. It doesn't really freak me out anymore. It's just like. It's just weird. It's not normal to get hit in the face and to bleed, like have your own blood just all over someone. It's kind of like it's nuts.
Was there any fear that it would get stopped because of all the blood?
No, I think it like pinpoint. It hit like a perfect artery. Like it hit something in there where it was bleeding good. But the cut, like it's like long superficial cut, but it's not like deep all the way through. It's only deep in the middle. So it was like I think it was like 3 stitches underneath, and then the rest of them were like on the top. So it was deep because it hit hit something, but it wasn't like a doctor stoppage or anything. It was coming down the side of my eye. I could feel that it was like hit my eyebrow and coming off the side. It wasn't in my eye. So, or I don't know. Maybe it was.
It didn't look like it. I mean, it looked like it was going straight out to us, but
yeah, no. When I had like. I had seatbelt, or I had like his neck almost like you were gonna get choked, and I had this hand underneath his armpit. And when I was squeezing to like set in the choke, every time I squeezed, the blood would kind of come out a little further. And it was like, at that point, me and him were actually talking there. He was like, he's like, man, are you okay? He's like, are you good? Can you keep fighting? And he was like, it was like I don't know how long. It wasn't that much time left whenever I had his back like that, and so. It was kind of one of those things where we both kind of knew like whatever was going to happen was going to be in the judge's hands at that point because I was trying to set positions and he just had just enough defensive counters to like stop me from I was trying to lock in legs and I couldn't lock in legs and the choke, or I would lock in the choke and I couldn't lock in my hooks. So he was doing a good job defending one or the other, and I could never lock up a submission position, just a dominant position to land strikes or to go for a submission.
When he was saying, "Are you okay?" was that like a genuine, or was he
trash
talking?
Yes and no. I mean, I think it was like it wasn't. There's no genuine. Like you don't care. I mean, you care whatever, maybe a little bit, but like. It was more like he was kind of like just jabbing at me, just talking smack, but it wasn't anything crazy. He was just like he saw me looking at him because I saw that he saw I was bleeding, and so I looked at him and he looked back and we made like somewhat of eye contact, and then he said that, and so it was it was just real chill. It wasn't anything crazy, but yeah, no, it wasn't genuine.
And you had a lengthy layoff. Was there any worry that you might not get back? And I mean, it feel kind of with the canceled fight and all that stuff.
No, I mean it is what it is. Like you got to think about how hard we train to get ready for these fights, and it's pretty normal to go into a fight and get banged up. And I've been in fights where I've had some torn cartilage in my ribs. I've broken toes. I've broken my hand. I've broken my fingers. Hurt my back and lifting and just doing. Like you train so much, you do all these different things. So like when you come into the fight, you're always going to be a little banged up. But I was a week before the fight. I had a new opponent, which was a completely different game plan. I had to have really good wrestling for that fight. And it was like I took someone down and I landed on my shoulder. and I had like a grade 1 separation. So it was just really painful. It wasn't anything tore. And so I couldn't dig an underhook very good, and I couldn't be in on a single and someone wizard on me like they were defending the single. Then it hurt really bad. So my coach was like, "Hey, we need to pull this fight. We don't want to go," because I've been in so many fights where I went into and been really banged up and just never say a word about it. And I think all fighters are like that. And that fight was just really important for me to get the win. And we just didn't feel comfortable going into 100%. I wasn't 100%. So,
Was there anything that surprised you about your opponent?
Yeah, because everybody knows that I go to the ground a lot, and before this fight, I was 18-4, and I had 17 finishes, and so me getting someone to the ground usually means getting a finish, and that's what I was looking to do with him. I know he's been doing jiu-jitsu for a while. And I know he's got some tricky stuff on his feet. So, I was definitely, my goal or my game plan was get him to the ground and get a finish. And, I was really wanting to be that guy that finished him on the ground. I thought I would, because I saw a lot of defensive positions where he was going with other people and they had submissions locked up, but they just didn't finish. So I was looking for a finish, and, it just didn't happen. But he was really good about defending me getting my hooks in, or me getting, like I was saying, like getting one or the other. He was defending the choke or defending the position really well.
Was there any worry going into the scorecards that you maybe, you never know?
You never know. That's why I always go for finish, because you don't know what these guys are looking at. You don't know what their backgrounds are, like what they enjoy watching, because at the end of the day, they're still fans. They love being around the sport, or they wouldn't be choosing this job. So like them sitting there at the table, they do have a job to do, but they're also deep down inside, they're still fans. And I think that's the same with all the referees and coaches and everybody. Like at some point, everybody has love for the sport. So you never know how the judges see the fight and how they want to see the fight. So I always look for finishes. And
I know you got to let that cut heal up, but when you want to get back in there?
I'm always game. I'm always training hard. My weight's always pretty good. So I'm ready to fight, soon. And I'll definitely make that call. I'll talk to my coaches. I'm about to head over to the PI right now and get some work in the cold plunge and just try to recover as quick as I can, try to get my legs underneath me. I don't know what happened, but my legs they got real heavy towards the end of the first. So he did hit me with a couple of calf kicks, but my quads and all my legs, I could just feel the blood flow just like slowed down. So I'm not really sure what's going on, but I just need to recover my legs, and I'll get back at it as soon as I can.
And last question, do you have an opponent in mind?
No, I'm always game to fight anyone, like literally anyone in my weight class or 55. I'm always game to fight, and I walk around heavy enough to take a short notice at 55 too. So who knows? I'm just ready to fight, and I know Sean knows that, and my manager and my coach know that. So I'll be back in the gym as soon as I'm healthy, and I'll be ready to go as soon as I can.
Thank you.
I think we're always so fascinated when somebody could take a cut like that and fight through it, and let alone make it on it and go ahead and win. At what point after you took the shot and then you take his back, did you even realize at first, and that he even cut you open? And how long till you realized it, and were you a little surprised when you first saw the blood starting to come out?
Yeah, no, I realized it is as soon as I locked up the position on his back. Whenever I had that seatbelt position, I'll have to go back and watch it, but I think I had his head and my head on the opposite side, and so I wasn't in the best position to throw a hook in or to secure the position. But I knew I had seatbelt, and I always use seatbelt to keep someone's back and try to get my lower body in position. So when I had his back and I had that seatbelt position, I knew I was safe, but then I realized I could feel the warmth. You feel that warm blood coming down. And then I actually, I breathed out really heavy through my mouth, and I spit blood. I didn't have it in my mouth, but it came down my lips, and then it spit out. And so whenever I saw that, I was like, okay, I'm the one cut, not him. Because I knew I didn't land anything, but I thought the back of his head hit me, and I thought it was actually in the middle of my forehead. So I was happy to, realize it was on the outside of my eye. So
sure. And it seemed like I couldn't quite tell if during the weigh-ins and even the beginning of the night, was there heat between the two, or was this just typical fight week sort of stuff?
I mean, it's whatever. It was kind of it's just typical stuff. He did an interview that had 20 views on it on YouTube. And I just came across it one day. And it said, like, you know, I'm going to look to knock him out. You know, he's got no hands. He got beat by Kevin Aguilar. But I'm like, man, that was like 8 years ago whenever I just got released from the UFC because all I was a wrestler. So whenever he said that, I was like, okay, but, you know, let's stay on the feet. Let's, you know, see what you got there. And, you know, it was definitely, there's a little bit, but it wasn't, I mean, it's nothing, it's squash. It's nothing like, I mean, I won't ever speak his name again, probably, you know, I won't ever have to, but I'm looking to get in and fight as soon as I can. I want top 20 guys. I don't want to fight anybody above me, but, you know, you're coming off a loss. Something you got to do is just step up, and when they give you a fight, you got to take it. And, you know, I was ready to fight him for sure. I had his name on a Post-it note. Maybe I'll find that picture, but it's like, couple months back, I was telling my coaches and my manager, I was like, hey, you know, like, here's 10 guys, here's 20 guys. Like, I'll fight anybody in my weight class. And I was just kind of like writing it out because that's what I like to use Post-it notes a lot for all my stuff. And I had his name on a Post-it note.
Well, speaking of Post-it notes, I think the commentary said that they thought that you had when you were asked about a call out and you didn't really initially say anything. I think the commentary said that they thought that you had Darren Elkins on a Post-it note.
I did. Yeah, I did. Because, like, what I do is I train every day, and my cardio is always really good. And then my weight's always good. So I'm game to fight short notice fights. I would much rather take a fight on 3 or 4 week notice or 2 week notice than have a full 8 to 10 week camp. Like, it just gets drawn out. You get banged up more. It's like you mentally break down, you know, more when you have a longer camp. I don't like long camps. I train every day. So, you know, I want short notice fights. I don't want, you know, these long drawn out camps. And I had his name on there. I had Bryce Mitchell, if he had a fight and his opponent fell out. You know, it's like I can't, you know, be a jackass and call out someone in the top 5 or top 10, you know, like right off the bat. But I'm game to fight any of these guys, and I know I can hang with a lot of people on the ground for sure. And there's definitely things I got to work with on my feet, and that's what I've been really game planning with my coach, Charles Bird. And, you know, you saw some kicks tonight, but I'm definitely trying to be more comfortable, be more well-rounded, and that's it. You know, just keep evolving.
And last thing, and then it kind of goes with the evolving, because I know you want to go over to the PI and take care of that eye.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned Sean Shelby, and you mentioned the guys, and you said you were grateful for them to giving you a shot again.
Yep.
Because I think a lot of people may forget, you know, your first stint with the UFC was back in 2014, I believe. How different is you these days with the mentality, the skill set, everything of what we see from you now as opposed to the Damon Jackson we saw back then? I've
always had a good mentality. I've always known that this is what I wanted to do. You know, I've been since 7th grade. I literally started wrestling. I did make the A team in basketball, so I went over to the wrestling mats, and I just loved it instantly. My uncle was like a big UFC fan back when it was like bare knuckle, you know, just crazy. And so like I wasn't even allowed to watch it, but I knew instantly that's what I wanted to do. So I wanted to go to college, be an All-American, and just so I could get in the UFC. And so like I set that goal out a long time ago, and then I did that. And when I made it into the UFC, this guy right over here, you know, he was one of my teammates, and I was like, hey man, I'm gonna take an amateur fight here in 3 weeks. Will you hold pads for me? And I bought these title Muay Thai pads online, spent like all the money I had. Like I spent like $100 on pads, and I never even kicked pads. They were hard as a rock, and I had no clue what I was doing. He was holding pads for me. My wife was holding pads. She was here tonight. So it's like, you know, this is something I wanted to do from a long time ago. So it's, you know, going through that and making it out of college. And then I made it into the UFC a year and a half after I turned pro. So like as soon as I was done with that semester, I started training for a fight. I had my first pro debut. And then I went through and I had 9 fights in less than a year and a half. And I made it into the UFC. I beat Leonard Garcia, made it into the UFC, and I was, you know, nothing but a wrestler. And there was a guy from Brazil, I think he's from, I don't know where he was from, but he was from Brazil playing soccer at my school. And he taught me jiu-jitsu for the first 3 years of my, you know, while I was wrestling. He was showing me jiu-jitsu and I was showing him wrestling. So he was doing IBJJF tournaments in Brazil and like here. And it's like, And just looking back on that, it's pretty cool that like my come up was pretty crazy, but I had all these guys helping me out, and it's something I wanted to do forever. So when I made it in, I couldn't turn that down, but I was not ready. And when I got released, making it back was just, it's good. I'm ready to go now, and I'm here.
Does the wife still hold pads with?
No, she 100%. I had one of my friends like tonight, like my childhood friend. I've known this guy since second grade, and he's never done, striking more. He's a police officer, so it's like him just holding pads for me. Like I just needed a target to hit. I just need to like get that flow going, and I don't really need a lot. I'm not super high maintenance, and I'm just here to fight.
So this ride has probably been special for them as well, for the
Hell
wife,
yeah.
for the friends watching you
100%.
be where you are now from when they used to hold pads and
100%.
and see where.
Because it really has been a group of people around me from day one. I have some sponsors and people back home that have been with me from Durant, Oklahoma, just been with me from nothing, like Scott Brown, Greg C, all these Mike Karen, all these guys, these are great guys that, just grew up watching me wrestle, and they loved me wrestling. And then when I started fighting, they were huge fans. My dad, my mom, they're huge fans. So it's cool to see everybody come with me, and every fight they come with me, no matter what happens, everybody's there. And, my coach has been here since my third pro fight, and I really didn't have anyone helping me out, and he stepped in, and I've been with him for last, 20-something fights.
That's awesome. Congrats on the victory.
Yeah, thank you.